When we think about soldiers on the battlefield, most of us picture trenches, rifles and tanks. But hidden in the stories of the past are smaller, more personal tactics, methods soldiers used not just in combat, but in survival, defense and protection of their camps and quarters. These were practical techniques designed to safeguard what little they had, and many of them can still be applied to protecting modern homes. In fact, what worked for a soldier in a foxhole or a makeshift barrack can be adapted for a backyard, a homestead, or even a suburban house. In this guide, we'll explore those forgotten tactics, why they worked, and how they remain effective in today's world. Soldiers understood that defense began with visibility and barriers. One of the first lessons soldiers learned on the front lines was the importance of clear sight lines and physical obstacles. A cluttered field or tangled brush made it easier for enemies to creep close without being noticed. To counter this, soldiers cleared perimeters around camps and layered barriers to slow any approach. Today, that same principle applies to home defence. A well-maintained yard with trimmed hedges and open sight lines discourages trespassers because it eliminates cover. Adding gravel paths around entry points not only creates a noisy surface that reveals footsteps, but also serves the same function as a wartime tripwire, alerting you to movement before it reaches the heart of your space. The soldier's rule of removing blind spots is one of the simplest yet most overlooked ways to keep a property safe. Soldiers made use of light and sound as early warning systems. During World War II and earlier conflicts, soldiers improvised alarms with the resources they had. Tin cans tied with wire across entryways rattled loudly if disturbed, while lanterns placed at choke points made shadows reveal movement. In the field, those tricks bought precious seconds of reaction time. For a modern home, the same strategy still works. Motion-activated lights at doors and dark corners echo the soldiers' lanterns, startling intruders and giving you instant awareness of their presence. Simple noise-making tools such as wind chimes or gravel beds beneath windows can create subtle but effective detection systems. These early warning ideas didn't require electricity or expensive equipment in the past, and they can still be adapted today with minimal cost. Soldiers mastered resourceful fortification using everyday materials. Frontline soldiers rarely had concrete walls or steel fencing at their disposal. Instead, they relied on what was available: sandbags, timber, even stacked barrels to fortify positions and protect against blasts. The same principle applies at home defence, though in a different context. Instead of sandbags, think raised garden beds positioned near entryways that double as barriers. Instead of timber barricades, stacked firewood along vulnerable fences creates both storage and an obstacle. These are dual-purpose fortifications, built from everyday materials, just as soldiers once did. The underlying lesson is adaptability, turning what you already have into both utility and protection. Soldiers relied on discipline and routine to prevent surprise attacks. Perhaps the most overlooked tactic from soldiers that applies to home defence is, the power of routine. In camp, sentries rotated watch duty, gear was inspected daily, and exits were always kept clear for quick escape. The strict discipline meant fewer surprises and faster responses in emergencies. At home, adopting a version of this routine pays dividends. Checking locks each night, walking the perimeter weekly, and ensuring escape routes are uncluttered are the civilian equivalents of a soldier's daily discipline. Even something as simple as locking gates after use or keeping tools secured removes vulnerabilities an intruder could exploit. This isn't about paranoia, it's about preparedness, the same mindset that kept soldiers alive under constant threat. Soldiers protected morale because, a secure home meant a stronger defence. One of the subtler lessons of soldiering is that defence isn't only about walls and weapons, it's about mindset. Soldiers in temporary shelters took pride in making their spaces orderly and safe because it boosted morale. A secure, tidy camp fostered confidence and reduced panic under pressure. The same truth applies to our homes today. When family members know that systems are in place, lights, barriers, routines, they feel calmer, safer, and more resilient. This psychological edge is as much a form of defense as a locked door. A home that feels defended is one that stands stronger in times of uncertainty. Applying soldier tactics today keeps history alive in practice. What makes these forgotten soldier tactics so remarkable is their timelessness. Clearing sightlines, using sound and light, fortifying with everyday materials, maintaining discipline and guarding morale are principles that transcend their era. They worked when resources were scarce, when the stakes were life and death, and they continue to work because they rely on simplicity and ingenuity rather than complexity. Anyone, whether living in a small town or a busy city, can adapt these methods. They connect us to history not as distant stories but as living strategies that still defend families today. The forgotten tactics of soldiers remind us that defense is not only about weapons or advanced technology. It's about awareness, preparation and resourcefulness. From sightlines to sound alarms, from simple fortifications to disciplined routines, these methods kept soldiers safe in wartime and can still protect homes in peacetime. History is not just for the bookshelves, it's a toolbox full of ideas that remain as practical today as they were in the field. If you found value in uncovering these soldier tactics and want more history that applies directly to our lives, make sure to subscribe to Backyard and share this with fellow enthusiasts. Together we keep these lessons alive, not just as stories, but as real tools for resilience and protection.